So the cars are all lined up behind the safety car. The race today is going to be either 18 laps or 40 minutes, whichever comes first. And there is the grid. On pole position, David Terrian. Then it's Nicholas Navarro. Then we see Johansson, Mikkola, Olsen and Lauda. Then Johnny Herbert, Jean Alesi, Gianni Morbidelli, Hasser Al Maktoum. Then Alex Yoong, the legendary JJ Leto, Christian Danner, Machi Lee, Ukio Katayama and Fabian Giroa. So just 3 minutes away from the start of this race. So there, drivers getting prepared. The look of anticipation as this race gets ready to be played out. Christian Danner in the ACI Legends car number 80.
Yesterday in second, Jean obviously wants another double header. What are you going to do to try and outbeat him?
Well, again, I think I didn't hear your question, but I think it was really trying to slot your way past at the beginning, but without getting into trouble. So you can never plan to pass anybody because all races and all starts are always completely different. So just really watching what happens when the cars first set off when the green light goes, then that gives you a very good idea of what direction you need to take.
Okay, well, good luck.
So Johnny Herbert then talking to our pit lane reporter. There is Nicholas Navarro, who is driving the all-yellow machine that is car number 71, as he wipes his fevered brow, ready to start this race. And then the ice-cool customer that is Jean Alesi. Now, Jean Alesi will, of course, be hoping to repeat his victory from yesterday. So we hear more of these mighty engines ready to do battle out here on the Sepang International Circuit. Going to be an absolutely fantastic race. So there is David Terrian, who is sitting on pole position. Matthias Lauda, car number 21, driving the ACI car. And then back inside looking at Hasser Al Maktoum, another cool customer. And there is the front of the grid. Navarro in the all-yellow machine. And looks like we've got a problem with the Navarro car. So this is the formation lap. Navarro has a problem. He needs a push. What a disaster for Nicholas Navarro, who was starting on the first row of the grid. What a nightmare for him. So Navarro's car being pushed out of the way. So there is Nicholas Navarro's car 71. We're on board with Uwe Olsen in car number 08. Fantastic shot around this track. On board with Olsen. And there's Ukio Katayama, who will be starting this race from the pit lane. The Drivers' Championship being led by Jean Alesi. In second place it's Uwe Olsen. Then it's Matthias Lauda, Johnny Herbert in fourth. Then it's Mikkola, Terrian, Navarro and Klaus Ludwig in eighth place in the Drivers' Championship. Then we see Stefan Johansson, Ukio Katayama, Hasser Al Maktoum, Gianni Morbidelli, Fabian Giroa, Alex Yoong, JJ Leto, Christian Danner and Machi Lee in the Drivers' Championship. So then as these cars propel themselves around this fantastic circuit here in Sepang. There's car number 18, Ananda Mikkola. And there is Nicholas Navarro who is now going to have to start this race behind Ukio Katayama from the pit lane. Not the start that he was so hoping for, being on the front row of the grid alongside David Terrier. So the safety car leading them around. And talking to some of these drivers just before they got into their cars this morning, a lot of them saying that they were very, very happy that this race was early on the schedule today, where temperatures here in Malaysia have not reached their peak. So what a fantastic sight as the cars, some of them weaving from side to side to get some temperature into their tyres, those huge Michelin tyres on these speed cars. There the rear of car number 69, Johnny Herbert, then it's John Alesi, Gianni Morbidelli, Hasser Al Maktoum, as they all come screaming past, ready to do battle, either 18 laps or 40 minutes, whichever should come first. Now, theoretically, that should be 18 laps. The only time that race is likely to be altered is if we're into a situation where we get a maybe a red flag or a suspension. And, of course, we hope that doesn't happen. We want the race to run all the way to the wire, just as was played out in race 5. So Alesi and Herbert midway through the grid then. There's Fabian Chiroa, who looks like he has an enormous problem with his car number 17. So there, Terrien and Stefan Johansson. So the safety car is away and off the circuit, and we're looking for the lights. And we are away and racing with David Terrien into the lead, being hounded by Stefan Johansson. These mighty V8 monster stock cars around this phenomenally fast Sepang International Circuit. As the speed cars play out, look at them all flying through. Now David Terrien knows that he has got to go the best he can. Already we see problems for JJ Leto. So it's Terrien and Johansson. There's Uwe Olsen in car number 08 being hounded by Johnny Herbert. So look at these two absolutely side by side between Olsen and Herbert. Herbert knows that he's got Sean Alesi right behind him. Olsen, of course, went off just a couple of moments ago. And Johnny Herbert really beginning to reel him in right now. But up front, there's David Terrien. So we're on board with Hasser Al Maktoum as Gianni Morbidelli gets up in alongside and through. Al Maktoum leaving a gap there, and Gianni Morbidelli, the supremely experienced Gianni Morbidelli, not needing much of an invitation to take advantage of that. So 3 absolute superstars in the middle of this pack, Johnny Herbert, Sean Alesi and Gianni Morbidelli. And it is a pack of cars that's littered with star names like Christian Danner, Mark Chi Lee, JJ Leto and Alex Young. So the race being led by David Terrien, with Stefan Johansson doing everything he can. A real battle here between Johnny Herbert and Uwe Olsen, car number 69 and 08, absolutely side by side with Matthias Lauda in there for good measure as well, swapping places, trading paint. This is Speedcar stock car racing here in Sepang. Look at this, absolutely nearly 4 abreast into that corner. It's Uwe Olsen alongside his John Alesi, the cool, calm John Alesi, who watched that battle being played out and then took the advantage. Thought, there is a gap there, I'm going to go through it while you guys are playing around. This is fantastic stuff. And whilst all that is going on, David Terrien is coming under increasing pressure from car number 7, Stefan Johansson. Every which way you look through this grid of cars around the Sepang circuit, there are battles going on. Every driver absolutely desperate to win. So there is David Terrien, who is very much having to defend his first place. The gap between himself and Stefan Johansson there, just 0.241. So Terrien, then Johansson, then Mikkola, then Alesi. And Absolutely incredible racing here from these speed cars. There's 85, Sheikh Hasser Al Maktoum. Very little between any of these cars. And this is Ube Olsen then. We're on board with Ube Olsen, taking a look at what happened here. Ube Olsen, absolutely like a carbon copy of the race yesterday. Just making an impact there on JJ Leto. And there's Christian Danner in car number 80. Just avoiding that incident. Back on board with Ube Olsen. Ube, a particularly passionate driver as he gets very, very wide and onto the grass, but manages to control this mammothly powered V8 machine. There's Ukio Katayama and Marchi Lee in car number 50. Marchi Lee getting very sideways into a spin. Thankfully he'll be able to recover from that. We're back with the race lead, and David Terrien and Stefan Johansson beginning to pull out a little bit of a gap from the rest of the pack. So it's Terrien, Johansson, and a real battle there between Johnny Herbert and Matthias Lauda. So Herbert and Lauda absolutely side by side. They've got to come into this right-hander. And Herbert goes through. Herbert makes it count in car number 69. Then it's Matthias Lauda. Then it's Gianni Morbidelli. Flying battles going on between these cars. So it's Terrien, Johansson, Olsen, Mikkola, Alesi, Lauda, Herbert, Morbidelli is the race order. This race 6 in the Speed Car Series, being led by David Terrien. Then it's Stefan Johansson. And there Matthias Lauda, Gianni Morbidelli. Side by side, once again trading paint, trading panel work. A real spectacle on track, and Morbidelli just outbrakes, looks up the inside. Lauda says, oh no. Mammoth racing from these stock cars. And there's Sean Alesi, the cool car customer that is Sean Alesi. Mikkola just leaving a gap there, and Alesi saying, I don't need any invitation, I'm coming through. David Terrien gets a little bit sideways, a little bit of oversteer as he really powers this car. Terrien, Johansson, Olsen. Then we see Sean Alesi and Matthias Lauda just locking up the brakes and getting a little bit of understeer through that corner. Morbidelli really getting on terms with him. But here they come flying through. Terrien. Then we see Johansson. Then it's Olsen, Alesi, Mikkola, Johnny Herbert. And this battle that's going on between Matthias Lauda and Gianni Morbidelli. Talking to Gianni Morbidelli before he took to the track, and he has got through. But Lauda fights back. We're on board Sheikh Hasser Al Maktoum's car, just seeing what's going on in front of us. And Gianni Morbidelli has made his stick. But Lauda's taking a look up the inside. Does he have the legs? Not quite. Oh, yes, he does. Oh, no, he doesn't. It's fantastic racing. So these drivers swapping places, trading everything out there on track. So here we see Matthias Lauda and Gianni Morbidelli. So Lauda locks up, goes wide. Morbidelli doesn't need asking twice. And Morbidelli is through. So this race continues around the Sepang International Circuit for the Speed Car Series cars, littered with star racing names like that guy, Sean Alesi, like Johnny Herbert, but being led by David Terrien, the FIA GT Championship winner in the NGT character category. So David Terrien beginning to build up a little bit of a gap between himself and Johansson. Johansson very much having to defend his position from Ube Olsen. And then these cars come flying through. There's Matthias Lauda, Sheikh Hasser Al Maktoum, absolutely right behind him. There's Herbert, there's Mikola, there's Morbidelli, and there's David Terrien right at the front. Take a look at Uwe Olsen now, who's really pushing very, very hard to try and displace Johansson. Matthias Lauda in 21, then it's Hasser Al Maktoum. There is Navarro in the all-yellow machine. Car number 71, the all-yellow peril that is Nicolas Navarro. Up the inside of the legendary Christian Danner in car number 80. Christian Danner, a huge racing star, but Danner, of course, also well known for doing this job in his native Germany, holding a microphone and commentating on motorsport. David Terrien, 20, leads the way. Then it is car number 7, Stefan Johansson. Then we see Uwe Olsen, who is really challenging Johansson. Then it's Alesi, then it's Herbert, then it's Mikola, Morbidelli, and Matthias Lauda, and Hasser Al Maktoum. And the 09 car of Alex Jung. Alex really getting to grips with this monster V8 supercar. So into the pits then. Cars Marcin Lee in car number 50. So we're back with the leading car, David Terrien, and then we see the Johansson battle with Uwe Olsen. There is Terrien, there's Johansson, Olsen, then Sean Alesi, who has now set the fastest lap at 2:12.966. So Sean Alesi is really bringing this battle to the front of the grid right now. Sean Alesi, of course, will have absolutely nothing on his mind except winning this race. Whatever it takes, whatever it needs, that is what he will try and do. Johnny Herbert then in the flame-throwing car 69 is following Alesi, but Alesi is really powering himself around this track. David Terrien doing very well out in front, trying to build up a little cushion of a gap as once again Johansson and Olsen trade blows on track. Now Olsen, supremely passionate, almost aggressive in his driving style. Any place other than first place is no good to Uwe Olsen. He has Stefan Johansson in front of him, and a real battle between these two continues. Takes a look up the inside, decides against it, and just follows in the wheel tracks of Johansson, then back on the power again. You can actually feel that car get sideways as the power is applied. The enormous 620 brake horsepower through these speed cars. So there, Christian Danner in the ACI Legends car. Car number 80 gets very wide and gets off onto the grass and then into the runoff area. Christian Danner kept it going though to get back out on track. Meantime, there's Gianni Morbidelli getting past Nanda Mikola in car number 18. There is Morbidelli, who felt a lot more confident going into today's race with the handling of his car. Right now, let's get down to the pits and catch up with Marcin Lee.
Marcin, disappointment to your first race. What happened?
The car, I think, is a bit of oil leak that during the qualifying yesterday, it still didn't find it happen, so didn't find the problems, I mean. So, which is anyway, I have to come in because there's so many oil and petrol is coming in my eye, so we just stop to check, and it's my first race in Speedcar, so it's better to do it properly.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Dave.
Well, there, Marcin Lee taking a very, very sensible attitude with fluid being chucked into his face. Decided to do the right thing and get back into the pits. So they're in car number 8, Uwe Olsen, pushing really hard. And here another overtaking manoeuvre, and a class overtaking manoeuvre from Gianni Morbidelli. Just up the inside of Nanda Mikola in car number 18. Supremely experienced Gianni Morbidelli. Okay, to the 1, 2, 3 then, and here we see it. David Terrien leads the way with a 1.5 second gap between himself and Johansson. But look at this! Look at this! This looks absolutely fantastic as Olsen sees an opportunity and seizes that opportunity to get through. Absolutely fantastic. Well, was Johansson caught napping? Only he knows. But Uwe Olsen, absolutely passionate, gets through. Here we're back on board with Nicholas Navarro, who is alongside Alex Young in car 09. He lets off the brakes. Alex Young very late on the brakes. And Navarro into the tight right-hander, back on the power. There's Ananda Mikkola in car 18 and Matthias Lauda in 21, but there is the front of the pack. So it's being led by David Terrien, and now Uwe Olsen through into second place. Then is Stefan Johansson, and then Sean Lacey. And you can expect Sean Lacey to really start piling the pressure on any moment from now. Here is Christian Danner into the pits, the legendary Christian Danner in car number 80. So Lacey, Herbert, then it's Morbidelli, then Ananda Mikkola. But Uwe Olsen, who has looked threatening in various points of this race, as Johnny Herbert sets the fastest lap, 2:12.949. So a real battle that was going on between Olsen and Johansson, and this is how Olsen won it and got through right alongside Stefan Johansson. A little bit of panel rubbing back on the power. And there we see it again, absolutely side by side. Little bit of a nudge, little bit of a panel wipe. But Olsen gets what he wanted, and that's propelled through into second place. So the gap between Terrien, who's leading this race, and Olsen, who's in second place, 1.803. 1.803. Then we see just under half a second between Olsen and Johansson. And Jean Lacey now beginning to reel in. So Terrien, Olsen, Johansson, Lacey. And there Matthias Lauda into the pits with a puncture. Ananda Mikkola is off in car 18. All of a sudden, disaster for Matthias Lauda with a puncture. He nurses the car back into the pits. Sparks flying off the Speedcar. And leading the way, David Terrien. Then it's Uwe Olsen. Then it's Johansson. And now really piling on the pressure is Sean Lacey in fourth place. Then it's Herbert, Morbidelli, Hasser Al Maktoum and Navarro in the all-yellow Speedcar in eighth place. So they're the team desperately working on that Lauda car. In there, get that wheel changed and get Matthias back out on track. Can see the battle-worn scars of this Matthias Lauda car. And here is Matthias Lauda with that tyre expired and the panel work rubbing on the ground as he thinks, I've got to nurse that car back to the pit area. And they're the team working absolutely flat out to get him back out on track. So the car roars back into life again and he'll be back out. Meantime, it's Terrien. And once again, Johnny Herbert flies in with the fastest lap. 2:12.535. That's 2:12.535. As he's now really beginning to reel in Sean Lacey. So right at the top of this grid then, it is looking like a fascinating race. Right to the checkered flag. Terrien, Olsen, Johansson, Lacey and Herbert. Of course, Lacey and Herbert just yesterday swapping places right to the final lap. There's Hasser Al Maktoum, Nicholas Navarro in the all-yellow 71 machine. And this is what it's like for a driver, absolutely battling with that steering wheel. This mammoth V8 stock car, propelling that around the track. No tricks there. Herbert takes a look up the inside of John Lacey, but can't make it count. Didn't quite have the legs to get through. So this is going to be fantastic. Johansson. Then it's Lacey. And we're back to Hasser Al Maktoum now in car number 85 with Navarro in the all-yellow speed car that is car number 71. Phenomenal racing from these speed cars. Johnny Morbidelli, car number 10, and we're back on board. Now look at this as Herbert goes through on the inside of John Lacey. Now John Lacey, will he fight back? Johnny Herbert gets through, he looks for the opportunity, finds the opportunity, and bang, he is through. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Johnny Herbert, who of course yesterday was displaced from the lead of race 5 on the very last lap by John Lacey, and he'll be desperately wanting to make amends for that. And right now Uwe Olsen is taking a look for the lead up along the inside of David Terrien. Now Uwe Olsen, passionate, aggressive almost, is through and is leading this race. David Terrien had done such a fantastic job of leading this race for so long. And then all of a sudden Uwe Olsen saw an opportunity and went for it. Then we see Johansson, Herbert, who is setting fastest laps at the moment, and John Lacey, who doesn't seem to be able to keep on terms with Johnny Herbert as he goes through the inside of Johansson. Now Johansson fights back in car number 7. These cars are absolutely side by side, these powerful speed cars. And now John Lacey as they go 3 abreast. This is phenomenal racing from these speed cars. Who is going to win in this battle? Well, John Lacey onto the grass, onto the rumble strips, and Johnny Herbert is doing exactly the same. This is, wow, absolutely amazing racing. Uwe Olsen is in the lead, but 3 abreast along the home.
You know,
Herbert and Lacey. What a battle going on there under braking. Lacey gets a little bit sideways. Johnny Herbert is trying to follow Johansson's wheel tracks. Gets pushed out wide by Lacey in car 27. You can see the panel damage on his rear quarter as these guys are really fighting hard in this phenomenal speed car race in Kuala Lumpur, being led by Olsen. Then it's Terrien, then it's Johansson, Lacey and Herbert. Wow, what an incredible race from these speed car superstars being played out on track. So Johansson 7th, Lacey. Johansson is 3rd in car number 7, then it's Lacey 4th and Herbert 5th. And what a battle these guys are playing. There is Sean Lacey, the ice-cool, calm customer that is Sean Lacey, who's looking for every little bit of air. Again, under braking, gets the car sideways. He tries to find a way past Johansson and Herbert. Whilst that battle goes on, thinks I can get alongside here. Johansson says, right, I'm going to let you two scrap behind me and I'm going to try and get away as Johnny Herbert gets around the outside. A fantastic move on Sean Lacey. So Johansson 769, Johnny Herbert in car 27 is Sean Lacey. These 3 have been at it hammer and tong. And there's very little between them except an unbelievable desire to win this race. The race being led by Uwe Olsen. 2nd place is David Terrien. Then it's Johansson. A fantastic shot as these drivers get around that bend. There's Hasser Al Maktoum. Then it's Navarro. Then it's Alex Young in car number 09. You can hear the awesome power of those 620 brake horsepower V8s powering around this fantastic circuit in Sepang. So we're being led by Uwe Olsen. Then it's David Terrien, Nicholas Navarro in the all-yellow machine, taking a look up the inside of Sheikh Hasser Al Maktoum and outbrakes him. Little bit of oversteer, holds on, keeps off the power. Maktoum fights back. But in car number 71, the all-yellow Nicholas Navarro has made that count. And this is how he did it. So just took a look up the inside. Sufficiently outbraked Maktoum. And was able to get through. So back to the battle here then. Between Johansson, Herbert and Alesi. The battle for third place. It's Olsen leading, then it's Terrien, then it's Johansson, Herbert, Alesi, Morbidelli, Navarro, Hassaral Maktoum is in 8th place. Johansson, Herbert, there is Alesi. Now is Sean Alesi playing a psychological game here? Just waiting till the very end of this race before he really piles the pressure on, protecting the tyres, protecting the car. Who knows? Psychology at work from these hugely experienced racing drivers as Johnny Herbert is really taking a look now at Stefan Johansson. Stefan Johansson equally supremely experienced as Herbert takes a look up the inside, gets alongside, then he has to let off. Johansson is still holding on to that in 07, then it's 69 Johnny Herbert, and then it is 27 Sean Alesi, who all of a sudden finds something from somewhere and gets right onto the back once again of Johnny Herbert. So this is where the big battle is going on for third place between 07, Stefan Johansson, Johnny Herbert in car number 69, and then 27, Sean Alesi. So lap 11, it's Olsen, Terrier. Then we see Johansson, Herbert and Alesi. In 6th place, Gianni Morbidelli. And this is the battle on track. These three drivers, Johansson, Herbert and Alesi. And there Johansson takes a wide line. Johnny Herbert following his wheel tracks. And again, Alesi seems to have let off a little back, just a little bit. And I think he's just doing that quite deliberately, just lulling them into a false sense of security, letting them expel all the energy. So there is 07, there is 69. And Johnny Herbert hasn't let off at all. He's kept with Johansson every single step of the way. Johansson, of course, a supremely experienced driver who makes few mistakes, and that's kind of what Johnny Herbert needs. These cars are all so very, very similar in performance that it takes an error to be able to take an overtaking chance. As once again Alesi comes in really close to these cars now. There's Johansson, there is Johnny Herbert, and there's Sean Alesi. It's the battle for third place. All these three, interestingly, of course, ex-Formula One stars, Stefan Johansson, Johnny Herbert, and then Sean Alesi. So it's Olsen, Terrien, Johansson, Herbert, Sean Alesi, Morbidelli, then Navarro and Hassaral Maktoum in 8th place. Then we see Alex Young, JJ Luto and Katayama as once again Johnny Herbert takes a look up the inside of Stefan Johansson. Stefan shuts the door. Herbert doesn't have quite enough to make it count. But it's a warning shot across the bows of Johansson. But Johnny Herbert is not prepared to settle for where he is. He wants that third place and then to start reeling in the second and first place drivers. There is Stefan Johansson in car number 07. Johnny Herbert absolutely right on there as once again Johnny Herbert looks for a little bit of a gap. Sean Alesi just keeping back, easing off, letting these two battle, knowing that if it comes to blows he may be able just to take advantage and pick up the pieces that are left. And there Johnny Herbert takes a look up the inside. Has he got enough? No, didn't quite have the legs. Again Johansson, with tremendous driving skill, is able to protect his third position. So the gaps between these drivers absolutely almost negligible. You have to say Sean Alesi looking very, very cool and just waiting for an opportunity, driving the race with his head, knowing that these two are trading blows and knowing that probably he may be able to pick up from any debris that's left over, although Sean Lacey took a look up the inside of Johnny Herbert then, and then under braking, you saw the rear of the car begin to break away. No driver aids, of course, on these speed cars. It's all down to sheer driver ability and sheer guts and determination from these drivers. So there's Johansson, there's Herbert, and there is Lacey. Stefan Johansson in car number 07 as they lift the wheels up. Such is the speed that they're getting through this circuit as Johnny Herbert takes a look up the inside, and he has got into the corner of Johansson, and Johansson is off. And now, just as I predicted, Lacey thought something might happen, and he was there to pick up the pieces, and indeed he does. So Johnny Herbert and Johansson trade blows, and waiting in the wings was Sean Lacey, driving with his head, just waiting for something to happen, and when it did happen, he was through. You can't help but feel, though, that maybe Herbert is the quicker car, but this is how it happened. A gap there. So Herbert right alongside, then Johansson appears to cut the nose off. Johansson goes round, Herbert able to just dive out of the way. But whilst all that's going on, Lacey is through. Here is Matthias Lauda. Oh, with a real problem on the rear of the car. Manages to control it to safety. Alex Young in car number 09 getting it very, very badly wrong under braking. Hasser Al Maktoum able to get to safety. Alex Young be very disappointed in 09. And this is what went on. Tried to outbrake Hasser Al Maktoum, but just could not scrub off enough speed to make the right-hander. And subsequently, off to the rough stuff he goes. And this is what it looked like from on board the car. Absolutely locked up and in trouble, but back on board. So this is Christian Danner, car number 80. The legendary Christian Danner, driving, interestingly, the ACI Legends car. So Christian Danner thoroughly enjoying his time in this V8 monster speed car. A little bit of panel damage at the front there, which he'll be excused for, I'm sure. But there is Christian Danner in car number 80. There, Matthias Lauda, bitterly disappointed that he's out of the race. So here is the battle between Lacey and Herbert. Lacey has a podium place at the moment in third place, but Herbert will be wanting to displace Lacey. There is Johansson, who was punted off. And right now, here is Mr. Lauda to explain.
It's very disappointing after yesterday's success. What happened?
Yeah. From the beginning on, I heard on the front right like a punch tire. Slowly but slowly, I was losing air. So from the beginning on the right side, I had a punch tire and I was losing air the first laps. Then suddenly the tire explodes. I put a new one in. And then I lost the left brake disc. So it's a shame.
Disappointing. Okay, well, hopefully we'll see you back at next round in Bahrain.
Again?
Back to you, Dave.
Many thanks. There's Matthias Lauda then explaining exactly what happened. 2 tyres down, out of the race. What a shame. Of course, we will see him in Bahrain. Meantime, there is Stefan Johansson, who's being reeled in by Nicolas Navarro. So Johansson and Navarro fighting it out there. Of course, Johansson was in that battle between Herbert and Lacey. The race is being led by Uwe Olsen. There's David Terrien. Then Sean Lacey as we go on board with Nicolas Navarro, the all-yellow peril that is speed car number 71, as we begin to get into the closing stages of this speed car race 6 here in Kuala Lumpur. These drivers absolutely giving it their all. Phenomenal entertainment, phenomenal racing action. And there is the all-yellow 71 of Navarro, who really trying to reel in Stefan Johansson in car number 07. Stefan Johansson, of course, playing out in that battle earlier on for third place. And there we can see Navarro really pushing hard. Meantime, here comes a Lacey. Here comes Johnny Herbert. Fourth and third place. Jean Alesi is currently third. Then we see Johnny Herbert in fourth place. There was Terrien. Olsen has just got away into the distance. And all of a sudden, with 3 laps, the driver seemed to have settled down. Now it's important while racing to be taking on fluids, and here's Hasser Al Maktoum, who loses his fluid supply and needs to try and reconnect that whilst he's driving. That happened to him in yesterday's race as well. So there is a Lacey, there is Herbert. And then just beginning to cut into that battle now is Gianni Morbidelli. Here is the race order. It's Olsen, it's Terrien, it's Alesi, Herbert, Morbidelli, Johansson, Navarro and Hasser Al Maktoum, who we saw reconnecting his fluid supply into his crash helmet. We're back on board with Navarro, who is trying to reel in Stefan Johansson and get him very, very close. And Navarro just pushes too hard and he goes off into the rough stuff, but manages to hold on and get back onto the track in safety without losing that car. This is how it happened. Just a little bit too much going into that corner, wasn't able to make the corner. So well done to Navarro for holding on to it. Meantime, here we are with the race leader, Uwe Olsen. Then it's David Terrien. The gap between the two is very nearly 2 seconds. Uwe Olsen, once he's got his nose in front, absolutely flying around this circuit. There is Olsen, there is Terrien. And there, confirmation from his team that he has P1. He leads this. There is Olsen in 08. There's David Terrien in car number 20 in second. Then it's Jean Alesi in third place. Johnny Herbert is fourth. Gianni Morbidelli fifth. Stefan Johansson sixth. And Nicolas Navarro in seventh place with Hasser Al Maktoum in eighth. Alex Yoon is in ninth place. And then we get into some of the legendary names in Speedcar as JJ Lato's in 10th, Ukio Katayama 11th. Ukio, of course, having to start from the pit lane right at the start of this race. There is Jean Alesi in car number 27, who, as I said earlier, maybe halfway through this race began to ease off a little bit as he let that battle play out, and subsequently he's just left a little bit in the tank to use, protected his car, protected his tyres, and now he can build up a bit of a gap between himself and the fast chasing Johnny Herbert in fourth place in car number 69. There is Johnny Herbert, the flame-throwing Johnny Herbert in car number 69, and then the ice-cold customer that is Jean Alesi, very much driving with his head in this speed car race here in Malaysia. So Jean Alesi in 27, then it's Herbert in 69, and then really pushing hard, Gianni Morbidelli in car number 10. So on board right now with Hasser Al Maktoum in car number 85. Now watch him fight that steering wheel, fight with the gearbox, no driver trickery in here. H-pattern gearbox, traditional style gearbox. Has to work the steering wheel very, very hard. Big cars to be propelling around this fantastic circuit. Phenomenally powerful, phenomenally quick gear changes, as you can see, as we're into the final lap of this speed car race. The speed such that Al Maktoum's wiper lifted right off the windscreen. Car number 85. It's Olsen, Terrien, Alesi, Herbert, Morbidelli, Johansson and Navarro. So we're into the final lap with Uwe Olsen leading the race in car number 08. Olsen, Terrien, Alesi, Herbert, Morbidelli, Johansson, Navarro, Hasser Al Maktoum. Phenomenal racing from these speed cars. And Uwe Olsen, one of the most passionate drivers out there on track, hoping to take the win here in Kuala Lumpur. So as we follow Uwe Olsen in car number 08 on his final lap of this Sepang International Circuit. His battle-weary speed car with panel damage, but no damage to anything that matters as far as Uwe Olsen is concerned. The car has performed supremely, and so has he. David Terrien in second place in car number 20. As Olsen into that left-hander, he'll be looking for that checkered flag. And he takes it, fires his fist out of the window in celebration. And there we see Sean Alesi, Johnny Herbert and Gianni Morbidelli all crossing the line in what has been an absolutely superb speed car race. Packed with action. There we see Johansson, the all-yellow Nicolas Navarro. Absolutely wonderful racing. And there the team looking very, very happy indeed that Olsen has come through to take the race win in the ACI car that is Speed Cars 08. So fantastic race then, won by Uwe Olsen with Terrien in second place, Sean Alesi third, Johnny Herbert fourth. Then we saw Morbidelli, Johansson, Navarro, Hasser Al Maktoum, Alex Jung, JJ Leto, Ukio Katayama and Christian Danner coming home in 12th place. So we were looking for an exciting race, and boy did we get that. An absolutely brilliant race. And then not finished, Lauda, Mikola, Marcili and Fabian Giroa. As we see the Drivers' Championship being led now by Alesi. Then we see Olsen propelled up to second place. Then Herbert, Terrien, Lauda, Mikola, Navarro and Johansson. And there is the race winner, Olsen. Alongside him, Terrien. And Olsen absolutely delighted with his race win as he chucks all the racing paraphernalia out of the car, removes the steering wheel, does his hair as you would expect, and then out of the car. And the team over there to say well done, and rightly so. Fantastic stuff from Uwe Olsen. Hugs all round from the team. And there is Olsen. Explains exactly what went out. So there's Uwe Olsen onto the podium and onto the number one spot on the podium. the congratulations, not only from the crowd, but from the fellow competitors as well. So we see third place being presented. But first of all, it is to the race winner, of course. First place, Uwe Olsen, taking the race win. And then Benoit Lamonnery, the general manager of the Speedcar Series, presenting the second place trophy. And then to third, the senior general manager here at the Sepang International Circuit presents third place trophy to Sean Alesi. And the trophy